Okay. Hi, everybody. Okay, so I have really good stuff. A lot of what we're going to go over tonight is really fundamental basics, but I'm hoping that I can bring it to you in a way where you hear it differently tonight. And the reason I wanted to go over some of this stuff was because of Taylor Worry being on Carrie's call today. But first of all, I want to remind you that the Pacesetter program is still going on. So we are in March. So this is the last month that you can hit Pro 2 to get that Pro 2 bonus. And then we start going into, it's time to hit Pro 3 for April and May, okay? So Pacesetter is still in effect. When you hit Pacesetter, you can get those points to go towards the Mexico trip. And if you rank advance in March, you're going to get double points for the trip. That is a really big deal, you guys, huge deal. And then also remembering the POSE incentive. They have that incentive taking place this month and next month for if you get 20 Vitality stacks, if you get them converted to a Vitality stack, or you get, hi everybody, thanks for coming on, then you get to be at that special dinner and reception that they have, okay? So that's super cool. So Taylor Worry was a guest on Stu and Carrie's call today, and he, number one, said that he chose LifeVantage because of Darren Jensen, because he respects him and has known him for such a long time. Also because of the leadership and the integrity that we have in this company. There was also a new Pro 7 on the call, and she talked about why she was with another network marketing company, and she talked about why she chose LifeVantage. And one of them was she wanted the company to be publicly traded. She wanted there to be a clear message with the corporate staff. And I just thought those are really cool messages. And Taylor, his excitement for what he's doing, he is going to start drawing a really big presence on social media because he's in charge of the red carpet program. And so because of Taylor and who he knows, their intention is for him to draw in people from other companies. So with that being said, I wanted to talk about prospecting tonight, and I wanted to talk about what a good prospect is, what a good lead is, how to figure that out, and then how to treat them as a business owner and as someone that should have the mindset and the posture that you have your hands on a multi-million-dollar business that is a $220 million startup. That's how Taylor Worry sees LifeVantage. We are a $220 million startup. And a lot of people can't say that. They can't say they're doing $220 million a year and they're still a startup. And that's again why he said he feels like LifeVantage is the best kept secret out there. And he said it's not going to be that way for very long. So I've found a new mentor. I found her probably about a year ago. And I just recently, because I begged my husband, invested in a training that she's doing. And she is a strong Christian. She leads with her faith first. She's just someone I really admire. And I don't know about you guys, but I have found myself in a space of just being conflicted. Like, what do I want my message to be? Who do I want to be? What do I want my brand to be? Am I supposed to be like a Rachel Jackson where we're supposed to be network marketing gurus? Or am I supposed to be like a Michelle Poe? Or who am I supposed to be? When in fact, sometimes our greatest gifts are the smallest of things, right? Whether it's service or hunting or being able to help people with whatever. Like, everybody has different gifts. And I think we just need to hold true to that and stay in that lane and just always go from our head to our heart to our hands and give to people in a big way. And that's what her message is. And I love this training I'm getting. So I'm so grateful that I can do this. I take it very seriously. So I hope you get content from this as well, like I have. Like, I listen, I type, and then I write because I want it in me. And I want it to be in you as well. So she talks about warm market versus cold market. And as we think about Taylor Worry coming on board and a shift that may be happening in our company, that sometimes allows us to think about our warm market and going back to our warm market, and how could we present to them differently this time, or how could we approach them differently this time. So she said, so often we think it's best to tap into our cold market and those that we don't know online, because maybe that's safer, instead of talking to our warm market. And the best building blocks for establishing a solid company and a solid foundation are with our warm market, right? Because again, your business grows at the speed of trust. And so if you have people in your life that you can recommend a good movie, then that's somebody that you can talk to about your business. And so some of you may still have people on your list or within your Facebook, genealogy or whatever, that you still haven't talked to yet. If you can tell them about a movie that you love or something that you love, then you have that right, and you should give yourself permission to talk to them about the products and the business that you love, especially if you do it from your heart. And we're going to talk about the right way to do that so that they can hear your heart and hear that in you. So don't act differently about the products you love, and don't say, oh my gosh, are you kidding? I love that movie. Well, aren't you doing something new? Oh yeah, don't change. Like, be as excited about the products that you represent too. Don't overthink it, because then you make them overthink it. Okay, so when we're talking to our warm market, again, you've hopefully you've established trust with that warm market. So they should be open when you come back to them and say, there's a shift that's taken place. And if people have given you permission to keep them in the loop on the business, or if you have someone that has told you no, but you've done a good job at keeping that relationship intact as a friend, then I think you still have the right to be able to go back to them again and say, look, some things have changed. If the last thing they said to you was no, they're not interested, and now you go back again after they said no many times, then it may feel like you're just coming back to me because you want something. That's really something you should just leave alone. Honestly, it is. But if you have those other situations, then it's a good thing to go back to them. So here's like an invite situation, right? Listen, I really value your opinion. I'm relaunching my business, or I have this online presentation that's coming up, and I would really love for you to be on it because your opinion matters to me. And when I think of these products, I naturally think of you. If you don't want it, that is totally okay. But if you'd be willing to do me this favor to help me with my relaunch, I would be so grateful. And then I could get your opinion on it. Pretty easy, right? That would be a great thing for your warm market, or people that have said, keep me in the loop. Now, when it comes to a cold market, this resonated with me so much because when I first moved to Idaho, I was doing a ton of cold prospecting, and I was successful at it. It was going well, but none of those cold prospects today are building this business. There just wasn't that underlying trust factor. There wasn't a relationship. I didn't take the time to build a relationship first. And I've learned otherwise, right? So your goal with your cold market, you guys, is to transition them into a warm market. And you do that by building a relationship. And sometimes, because if they trust you, it's going to be easier to sell them something. If they trust you, it's going to be easier to talk about something that you love. And if you haven't established that, there's a good chance that it's not going to last. And it won't. I'm the example of that. So you want to build a relationship so that the selling becomes organic in itself. And this does mean that you might have to work longer to establish those relationships. And I'm telling you, in this last year especially, I have worked really hard on establishing relationships. I'm getting into a lot of different networking groups. I've been even through my church community, I'm very intentional on places I can help, things that I can do. But I don't go into it with the intention of, I need to find somebody that I can sell to. I need to find somebody that will join my business. My intention is to build relationships. And as I'm building those relationships, again, some may take longer than others. Some, you may have this instant connection, and within a couple weeks, they're pouring their heart out to you, and you feel like you can, approach them about what you have. Some, it may take longer. I've known some people for a year, and now just recently, they're opening up about maybe a situation with their child or an issue that they have that I didn't know that was there. And because there's a trust factor, they trust me in approaching them about the fact that I may have a solution. Like they want me, they ask me to send them that information. There's a complete difference in that. So again, with your cold market, you want to move them to a warm market, and you want to work on enhancing and building that relationship. So I would really, as homework, make lists again of people on your warm market that maybe said, keep me in the loop. People in your warm market that maybe you haven't reached out to yet. And people in your cold market, right? Maybe some relationships you just started on Facebook. And instead of going out and prospecting them, work on transitioning that into a warm lead. Start just working on that relationship. Be the one that leads that, asking them questions, sending them, hope you're having a great day through like a voice messaging on Facebook, whatever it may be. But just work on establishing and building trust in those relationships. Many times in this business too, we hear about the numbers. Like Warry's always talking about, go out and talk to 30 people in a day or blah, 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 blah. And I just don't think you should put a number to the amount of people that you work with or that you try to talk to. I think we should take the pressure off that situation and instead be asking ourselves, how many people can I talk to naturally and well in a day, right? And that's going to vary day to day. There may be days where you've got a ton of stuff going on with your family and you don't have a lot of time, but if you wake up asking yourself, how many people today can I talk to naturally and well, you'll be more open-minded as you go through the day. Instead of having your face down at your phone, you'll be aware of opportunities where you can actually start up a conversation like a lot of normal people don't do anymore because they're always looking at their phone, right? So instead of the number, and it's just like if our kids went to school for the first time and then they come home and we ask them, did you make any friends today? And they say yes. We don't say, well, how many? We say, who? Who did you make friends with? Same thing with this. It's not how many contacts you can get. Have any of you ever gone to the mall? I used to be that girl that would go to the mall and I'm like, I'm not leaving this mall until I get 5 contacts, right? They were numbers to me. They were not people. They were not human beings. They were a big old target. And that just doesn't serve us and it doesn't serve them either. And they can read that all day long. I was a target, not them. Okay, so ask yourself, how many people can I reach out to naturally and well? Make that your goal. It's about being authentic and making genuine relationships. Don't see them as a number, see them as a person. Okay, so again, when we talk about taking those cold contacts that we're making, right, and turning it into a warm contact, there's a couple ways that we can do that, right? And one is through compliments, and one is by asking questions. Does anyone hate a compliment? Nope. But here's the thing. I've had this before too. It's so funny where like I'll get a business card and I've called somebody on the phone and I'm talking to them and I want to prospect them and then I meet them in person. And as I start to talk to them, I'm like, I don't want to work with this person. So don't force yourself to compliment them. I mean, you can't systemize people. Don't overthink the system. If you can't find a way to compliment them, you probably don't want to work with them. Like, this is your business and you have the right to say yes or no to the people that you want to work with. So that is completely up to you, but nobody dislikes a compliment. And if it is somebody you would genuinely want to work with and you give them a compliment and you still get a no, when all else fails, you guys, you were an encourager in their day. You made their day by giving them a compliment. And it's just like what the dude, Andy Andrews, says, right? Playing the game when no one knows there's a game being played. It's just being kind and being authentic. And that moment of being authentic and complimenting that person, months, years from now, if they're still watching you, that may lead to something later. So always remember that. Don't disregard that. Okay, so you've complimented them and now you want to ask them questions. Ask them questions to get to know them better and find out if they have a problem you can help them with. And this is where it gets so good, so juicy. Okay, but I can't get ahead of myself. So when you're asking them questions, be patient with the questions. And so this is where it's a heart test. It truly is. You want to make a connection not a quick sale when you're asking the questions. And so the more conversation that you have with them, the more naturally that you're going to be able to find a way to help them and bring up a solution for them, and the more open they'll be to hearing it. So people don't move from cold to warm market in a specific amount of time. Remember, like, you can't systemize people. Don't think about the system. Think about making a friend. Think about making a genuine connection. Here's an example. So I oversee first impressions at our church. So one of them is our refreshments ministry. And I had a gal a couple weeks ago. She texted me and she said, Tanya, I'm going to have to, take time away from refreshments for a while. I'm really sorry. And I could have easily been like, okay, no problem, and not gone further at all. But instead I said to her, I'm sorry to hear that, tell me what's going on. Is everything okay? She proceeded to tell me that she's been dealing with some health issues and she has bad wrists. And so I sat there and I'm like, okay, I can't disregard this. And so I just kept asking questions. And it got to the point where this leads into something we talk about in a little bit. It got to the point where she couldn't sit down with me fast enough. This woman was so eager to have relief in her life. And thank you, God, she's found it. Like, she loves our products. Like, she is shouting from the mountaintops. She's already referring to somebody I'm meeting with this week. She was just ready. And I wouldn't have found that out if I had not asked questions. So it was a matter of, and she sent it late at night. And sometimes, anyway, I'm not getting into all that. But I could have totally disregarded that. But I asked questions and it led to this beautiful meeting with her. So don't worry about the system of it. Just ask the right questions. And again, just always, when you're going through something like this, you guys, really have a heart check and really ask yourself, what are my motives here? Always be intentional about that and know what your motives are when you're going about that. Okay, so now we're going to talk about when it comes to prospecting. Sometimes as we get into a lot of, I would encourage you guys, get into as many networks of people as you can. Do it. Even if there's a lot of networking people in there or network marketers, do it. Because that, honestly, right now, I think is some of the big things, that big people that we want to attract. When we talk about social media, and you guys, you need to be using social media. And it doesn't mean you're always on there, but there are people that are always on there. Okay. So I have been having a lot of meetings lately with people that find me on Facebook because we're linked through the same network of women. And so I've been having a lot of lunches lately, and all these women are network marketers, all of them. And they're very happy where they're at. And I just keep saying, I'm going to play the game while they don't know they're the game being played. So I meet them for lunch, and I'm meeting amazing women. They're inspiring to me, and I just keep showing up because I know that something is going to come from this. And even if I'm not getting team members from this, I'm going to get customers through this, right? So when you are I want to talk about the content that you're putting on social media, because it matters when you're trying to attract the right people to you. And the greatest content, look, when you log into Facebook, Facebook says what? What's on your mind? People don't always want to know what's on my mind. And I know they don't always want to know what's on your mind either, right? That's not the thing we want to post. And if you're posting negativity, then that negativity trumps any positivity that you put on there a lot. Like, it makes your positivity brand go down, way down. So when you do post something positive, people don't give that as much attention as they would because of the negativity they saw you post. That stands out too much to them. So you have to be aware, because you said yes to network marketing. This is a way to grow your business, and you need to treat it as such. So the best content that you can put on social media comes from what you're learning or what you've learned, and what you're doing or what you've done. Okay? Like, this training I've been going through has given me content to put on there. It gives me content to teach you guys what I'm doing and what I've done. And like customers I've gotten. It's given me testimonies to put on there. It's given me just examples to put on there. So it's not asking what's on my mind to post, but it's about how can I make an impact and how can I directly serve or impact someone's life today. That's what you want your content to be, because what you're doing is you're building a brand then for yourself, and you're building an image, and it's something that people, they trust. And you know what's crazy? So like at church, like I said, because of what I'm doing, there are people that are watching me and they're not loving or liking anything, but they come to me in church and they're like, I just love, and suddenly I'm their best friend because they know me because they're watching me. And I'll take it. Like, I'll take it. But it just shows me, and I've gotten customers that way, right? I've gotten those customers that they've been watching, and then all of a sudden, boom, there comes that one post where they're like, okay, I'm gonna grab the fish or the worm, whatever. Like, tell me what this is. Is that me? You guys hear that? Like a game? Okay, it's us. Who is playing games out there? Pay attention. Okay, anyway, I'm fired up about this stuff. Okay, so yeah, instead, I don't know where I was, but ask yourself, how can I encourage and benefit other people and what you're learning? And here's the thing, if you're not finding that you have a lot of examples of what you, if you're finding you have a lot of examples of learning, but don't have a lot of the doing, here's the problem. So a lot of people, they love to learn, but they're never applying. I'm gonna say that again. A lot of people love to learn, but they're not applying. Okay, and then there's those people that are always doing, but they don't think they need to be learning. So you really gotta check yourself. Like, what are you doing and what are you learning? How are you growing and how are you moving forward? How are you growing and how are you putting in the action? That is going to give you the content you need to put on Facebook. And sometimes that means that that content comes from doing things that scare the crap out of you. Sometimes it comes from doing things that you have to do, like for Kyle and I, like in this season of life, I got tons of content I could put on there. And I know a lot of it will probably come at the end of our season that I will share to show people like what we've consistently tried to do to get through this in a positive way. But don't be afraid of it, you guys. There are so many people going through junk and crap and hard times and heartache. And that is something to share with people. Don't always think it has to be about smelling the roses. Like, that can be boring. Share the hurt too, and share it in a way that here's the hurt and here's what I've learned. Here's the hurt and here's what I'm doing to get through it. Because as we continue to be in our sphere and our circle of our beautiful community of LifeVantage, sometimes, and then you have your certain things that you scroll through on Facebook, it's really easy to assume that everybody lives in the land of LifeVantage, and they don't. 99% of the world doesn't live in the land of LifeVantage, so they don't know what you know. So you need to share it. So here's the thing. I have moments during the days where I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to share this. Or, oh, this would be such a good live. And I don't write it down, or I don't do the live. And I think, well, I'll remember, and the next day it's gone. Or my heart's not there in that moment anymore, and the message won't be conveyed the same way. So there's my test for you this week, right? Like, if it's there, if it's on your heart, share it. Share it, because it means that somebody will benefit from it. If it's affecting you, it's going to affect somebody else. That's just the way the world works. So don't be afraid of that. And here's the thing with your business requires both. It requires learning and growing. It requires learning and doing. It requires both to have that happen. You should be continually doing both, your head to your heart to your hands. And if you haven't started really utilizing social media, if you don't post on Facebook and you're telling yourself, you've convinced yourself that you don't need to and that it's too much time and I don't know what to do, stop talking that way. Stop talking that way, because the power of it is if you haven't done it and you start to, people are going to be like, what? They're going to pay attention and they're going to want to know how you've changed and what you're doing, and they are going to reach out to you. They just are. And if you are really just, you can't find that inspiration or motivation on what to post, look at some other people's pages, but don't share. Just like hold down, right click, copy, put it in your notes, read it, make it your own, and then put it on your page. Okay, then put it on your page. But start now. It's important, you guys. It just makes such a big impact. Okay, so you're posting, you're getting, okay, so now you're using social media, you're posting, and now you're getting some leads. So how do we qualify leads, right? I just told a girl this the other day that I sat down with, and I told her, I'm like, look, I am looking for people that are as interested in working with me as I am as interested in working with them. I'm like, because I don't need people, but I want them to be motivated, driven, and excited. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I told her. And she loved hearing that, right? But I didn't want, I told her there used to be a time where if anyone just breathed and said, oh, okay, I'll sign up, I was like, okay, I can't wait, I want to sign you up. And then I would just keep tugging them along. Come on, I'll change you. I can fix you. Come on, you can do it. And that's exhausting. Like, we just can't do that. It's up to them. They're the one that makes the investment. So if we want to utilize and spend our time smart rather than wasting time, there are ways to do that. And one of them is by asking the right questions. There are some questions that we can ask up front. And look, this mentor of mine, she's got like a questionnaire that she has people fill out. Talk about posture, okay? She says, she doesn't do it with everybody. She's like, if somebody comes in and they're not really ready to work yet, they want to like do some customers, she's like, then I don't give it to them right away. But she said, people that come in and they're ready to go, she's like, I tell them to use a questionnaire. So if somebody reaches out to her on social media, she's like, okay, I'm going to send you this Google Doc, go through this for me, and then we'll touch base. I mean, that's a business owner. That's a woman boss. That's a boss lady. Am I right? Like, she's in control of her business. Okay, so I haven't been using a Google Doc, but I've tested this. And here's what I've been doing. So when people reach out to me, I've just been asking them those questions. And I don't engage in like small talk. I just ask them those questions. And then I'll tell you why. But some of them are, and I'm telling you, by doing this to you guys, you are like, you stand out above the other 99% of network marketers that are doing this. Because how many of us have gone through texting or email conversations or Facebook messaging over and over and over and over, and it's been going on for months and it's getting nowhere. How many of us have been doing that, right? It's not the best use of our time. Me too. I've done it too. I've totally done it, right? Because, and here, I hope this will give you an aha moment, but here's some of the questions that I've been asking, okay? I ask them why. Tell me first why you reached out. I don't just send them the information. Tell me why you first reached out. Okay, tell me, are you currently using anything? What else are you using? What other issues are you dealing with or are you struggling with? And then, okay, so here's the big one. So I chose my mentor for a reason. And I'm telling you, like, I don't know what everybody's beliefs on this call are, and I'm not here to push anything, but the one greatest, biggest factor that's gotten Kyle and I through this season is God, okay? And it's prayer, and it's community, and it's friends. And so I have also been asking them in the meantime as well, is there anything that I can pray for you about? Because what it shows them is who I am and what my intention is And then it shows me who they are. I've not had one person not take me up on that. Look, people love to be prayed for, right? No matter who you are. Like, you'll take the prayers all day long, am I right? Okay, so once they answer these questions, then I know how to lead them. I know where to take them. And then the next thing, here's where it's gonna get you. Now you take it offline and you get on the phone. You get on the phone or you get on Zoom. And I am telling you, you guys, I'm telling you, this will weed out the people that are not serious. This will take down your time from like weeks or months to about 30 minutes. Because one, you know exactly what they're dealing with, you know what they need, and now you know how to direct them when you get on the phone. And you know if you need to get someone on the phone with them right away, okay? So I did this with my friend Ashley, and I got her on the phone with Des. She became a customer. I did this with my newest prospect, Jenna. Started on Facebook message, asked her some questions, what, why, blah, blah, blah. And this was more business. She was looking to be a business. She wants her own business. She doesn't want to work a job. She knows what network marketing is. And she wants this to be her long-term thing, right? And then we took it offline. We met for coffee, actually. It wasn't a phone call, but got her on the phone with Michelle. And here's the other example. This is why it totally works. And the phone will make us uncomfortable. All day long, the phone will make us uncomfortable. But you become a real person on the phone. Now, every week, I get a list from my church of people that say on paper that they want to serve, that they want to volunteer. Here's what happens. So I get their information and I call them back, and I'm vested, like, I need these volunteers. I need them on our ministries, right? And I'll call them and I get nothing back. Like, I'll text them and I'll leave them a voice message and crickets, nothing. And I think, why did you tell me you were interested if you're not going to answer the phone or you're not going to reply to my text? Why would you even put it down? The same thing happens with this, right? People say, well, yeah, I want to check out your product, but it becomes wasted time. They are not truly vested in finding a solution to their problem. And the people that do serve, that do want to be in the ministry, they can't get on the phone with me fast enough. They get on the phone and we have a conversation, and then I know where to place them. It is the same thing here. So if you are afraid to get on the phone, it's a sell. We got a problem. You have to be willing to get on the phone because you're treating this like a business then, right? Does this make sense? The old-fashioned phone, buy a dial-up if you've got to. Like, get on the phone. It makes a difference, you guys. I didn't want to teach this until I did it myself, and it works. It works, it works, it works. So qualify them. Like, qualify them. Do you really want to work with me? And if they don't want to get on the phone with you, even if let's say you've got an excuse for them and you're like, well, she's a mom of 6 kids and she's just so busy, she doesn't have time. Well, she's got time to watch The Bachelor. She's got time to scroll through Facebook. If they really want this and they're really, truly interested, they're gonna get on the phone. And if they don't get on the phone, you guys, it is not someone you want to be spending your time with, because nobody wants to spend 30 minutes on the phone all to get a no. And you're still gonna get no's when you get on the phone, but you will get less of them. And here's a great thing too. So you get them on the phone, right? They say they'll get on the phone with you. A lot of people, they'll get on the phone and they're still gonna kind of have their guard up. They're gonna be like, okay, now Tanya's gonna go in for the sale. Like, what am I gonna deal with here? Just be real, like, address the elephant in the room as soon as possible. And here's a great way to do it. Just say, my goal is not to, I just want you to know right away, my goal is not to sell you something. My goal is to see if you have a problem that I can help you with. And based on what you've already told me, on the questions I've asked, I think that I can help you. And if you feel pressured in any way throughout this conversation, I am giving you the right to call me out on that. and let me know that you're feeling pressured. You just bring that to my attention. But based on what you've said, I'm looking forward to addressing this problem, to helping you out. I don't want to waste a lot of your time. And if we work together, we'll get to know each other very, very well. So let's just get right to the root issue. Here's what I think we can do for you. And then you address it. And a lot of people in that moment, they'll make that decision on the phone. And then when you have them on the phone, you can lead them to their computer to get on your website and walk them through signing up. And then there may be people that are like, I got to talk to the spouse on the budget. Let me look at some more videos, whatever it may be. But again, just like before, you guys, when you're doing that follow-up, like give them homework from step to step before they take the next step. But on the phone, you can keep the dialogue going rather than waiting on a message or a text message to come back. And it's so funny. You know how we are in text messages, right? They talk about this at church on Sunday. Like somebody you send them a text message and then you see those 3 little dots show up on the bubble and they're getting back to you. Or on WhatsApp, it says, Stephanie is typing. And then all of a sudden there's nothing there. And then you're like, oh, what the heck? Like, and then you're waiting. Right? Amazon society that we live in. It's the same thing with this business. So just get on the phone so you don't have to go through that stress and anxiety, right? Don't waste your time. And here's what I love about asking the qualifying questions, getting them on the phone, because what we're talking about is the kind of prospecting to where you're asking people to match your interest. So their interest in the products is matching your interest in them. And more often than not, you're not the one more interested in the customer than they are being the customer. You're basically, by getting them on the phone and telling them that you have a solution to their problem, you can switch their mindset from what is this going to cost me to what will this cost me if I don't do this, right? Because it's going to cost them to work with you and it's going to cost them not to work with you. But by them hearing your heart and where you're coming from, you can switch that mindset for them. So that's what I got. I thought that was really good. Really good training. Isn't that so good? Get them on the phone. When was the last time we really heard people preaching to us to get people on the phone? I just think it makes all the difference. Instead of just voice messaging back and forth on Facebook Messenger or through text, have an actual phone call. And I'll just leave you with this too. I'm sorry we've gone over, but I had a gal that reached out to me that I went to elementary school with. And this was a few months ago. And I'm like, we're talking on message. And I'm like, Tammy, we have to talk on the phone. And when I got her on the phone, she became a real person, as weird as it may seem. I just thought of this too. It's one thing to like type the message while you're talking to them, but when you get on the phone and you hear their voice, it becomes a completely different conversation. So, and again, don't worry if they don't. Just tell yourself, okay, they're just not that serious quite yet, and just keep moving on to the next person. So that's what I had. I hope you guys found value in it. I thought it was really great content, and I will keep sharing what I learned. She's an amazing, amazing trainer, and I'll keep sharing as I go through it. So I love you guys so much. I appreciate you coming on tonight, and tell people to listen to the recording. I would appreciate that. I think it's of value. All right. Have a good night, guys. Bye.